What is going on, everybody? Happy Saturday here, late in July, as the summer is winding down. Football season is approaching. Ladies and gentlemen, I am your host, Israel Rivera, here at Prime Sports World, bringing you another edition of Roundin the Bases. But we got something special for you, ladies and gentlemen, as the MLB trade deadline does approach here, coming up August 1st. I believe that is a Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen, as some of your favorite teams will be looking to trade some of your biggest stars here as they round up for the latter half of their season. But anyways, before we start the show, go ahead, please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, here as Prime Sports World goes live 24/7, bringing the heat, ladies and gentlemen. As you can catch us live here on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. And you can catch me on Prime Sports at Izzy _ at Prime Sports World on Twitter, and PSW _ David on Twitter as well, ladies and gentlemen. And in case you missed this live feed, you can catch us on all streaming platforms where podcasts can be heard. That is Apple Podcasts, Samsung, Amazon, Spotify, and iHeartRadio, ladies and gentlemen. Anyways, it is one of those times of the years where, teams are ramping up here for a playoff push. Teams that are in position in the playoff push. I mean, now there are 6 teams that can make the playoffs. So necessarily speaking, from I believe it was 4 to 6 now, or 5 to 6. Now, there are more teams that are in the playoff hunt, so more teams are more active at the trade deadline. So just throwing that out there, as in years past, right? People are used to 2012, 2010, before they added teams to the playoffs. There were less teams that were active at the trade deadline. There were a few splashes, like the White Sox. I mean, one of the White Sox traded Lance Lynn and Joe Kelly, right, to the Dodgers. There's Lucas Giolito was traded to the Angels. There were a couple other relievers that got traded as well. Early on, third baseman Jaimer Candelario was traded. There were just a lot of other a lot of teams that were trading smaller chips. Kendall Graveman, he goes to the White Sox with a deal with the Astros. David Robertson to the Marlins for infielders, Marcus Vargas and Ronald Hernandez. So just little trades. The little back and forth trades. I do think that there are some teams that are buyers and sellers, and I'll get to that as the show does approach. But some of the big names, Shohei Ohtani, right? We all thought that Shohei was going to be on the move, but the Angels came out last week and said that we're not trading Shohei. Because they're trying to make a playoff push. The Angels are only 6 games back. They just added Lucas Giolito. They're probably going to add another piece. So they're definitely buyers here as the trade deadline does approach. So yeah, no Shohei Ohtani. We all thought Shohei was going to be traded to, for a massive contract to the Mets or the Yankees or another big market, because that's where he wants to go, right? Another big market. I mean, ain't nothing bigger than LA. Okay. Yeah, I mean, he's just playing for the wrong team probably in LA. He wants to be on the Dodgers. That's where I get it. That's where I get from Shohei. But there are definitely some teams that are looking to add for a playoff push. But then there are some teams that are looking to dump, some of their guys, add, younger pieces, prospects, for that nature, in that nature. Now, going back, I wanted to go back and look at that Lucas Giolito trade. um, that happened with the White Sox, with the yeah. So they acquired Giolito and Ronaldo Lopez for hold on here. Yeah, and they gave up two of their top prospects, Edgar Cuero and Kai Bush, in those trades for Giolito and Ronaldo Lopez. That's what I wanted to get into. So they let go a couple of their top prospects just to get two guys that are going to help them right now. So the Angels are for real. They're trying to make a playoff push. They've been playing good baseball since the break. The Angels are for real. They've been 8-2 in their last 10. They've been playing some good baseball of late. And they think that they can catch the Astros. They think they can catch the Rangers if they add a couple pieces in the rotation. So that's where the Angels are at right now. Looking at some other teams like the Cubs, who have been playing excellent baseball since the break. They probably they're 9-1 in their last 10. They've won 7 straight. I mean, they swept the White Sox. They had a good series against the Cardinals. They're on their way to sweeping the Cardinals. I mean, they had one in dramatic fashion last night by robbing a home run in the bottom of the ninth there in St. Louis. And they're a team that's only 4.5 games back, but they got some big names on the team that they're probably looking to move, that they probably can improve and get back some valid pieces for a playoff push. Like the Cubs getting rid of Cody Bellinger might get you a prospect and get you a utility player. Something that they need. They need to bolster up their farm system. The Cubs have a lot of utility guys. They have a lot of plug and play guys. They have a deep young roster that they can afford to get rid of a Cody Bellinger. I know he's a big bat in the lineup, but they have some big bats already in the lineup. So, Marcus Stroman, who's, had a up and down season, so to speak, he can be a valuable piece to somebody's rotation, for a playoff contender. Particularly, I believe the Marlins are in, they're in real for Tim Anderson. They're in real for, a starting pitcher, to add to their rotation. So the Cincinnati Reds, I don't know if they'll trade in their division, but I think they do it all the time in baseball. But there are teams that want Marcus Stroman in their rotation, and they'll give up some pieces for him. So definitely, diving right into it, ladies and gentlemen. So the trade deadline is August 1st at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, ladies and gentlemen. So teams are just trying to ramp up and get all the trade requests in. I mean, I went over some of the trades that already happened. I do believe the Angels are buyers right now, and I think they'll continue to buy. So right now, my top buyer is the LA Dodgers. I don't know why it's capitalized up there, but my top buyer is the LA Dodgers. Right now, they just added Lance Lynn and Joe Kelly from the White Sox. Now they're talking about possibly adding another big piece in Nolan Arenado from the Cardinals. So the Dodgers are total buyers right now. They possibly are going to reacquire Cody Bellinger. I've heard those rumors too from the Cubs. So the Dodgers are total buyers right now. Another buyers are the Texas Rangers. They're looking to add, pieces to the infield. They're looking to add pieces to their rotation. As they're trying to separate themselves, in the AL West. Another buyer is the Seattle Mariners, right? That's another team, right? That team is, looking to, possibly push in the NL West as well. That whole NL West is tight. It's only 6.5 games between the Mariners, the Angels, Astros, and Rangers. Astros only 2 games back. Angels 6 and Mariners 6.5 games back. So those two teams are definitely trying to ramp up. The NL West is definitely trying to ramp up in the trade deadline. I do believe that the Miami Marlins are a buyer. I know they're 10.5 games back. That's probably that I know they're 10.5 games back, but they're in the division with the Braves. Come on now. And I say that with breath like that because it's like, okay, now when I look at this is where I talk about the 2 extra teams, right, in the playoffs. When I look at the wild card, they're right there. They're in the wild card. With the Phillies and the Reds being the top 2 wild card spots. But the Giants and the Marlins are right there. Half game back. So the Giants, we can add the Giants to the list too as buyers. The Giants are buyers too. The Marlins are buyers. And the Reds are buyers. All 3 teams that are close in the wild card hunt, they're all buyers, in my opinion. You know, with Cincinnati, you know, wanting to add a veteran rotational piece to their starting rotation, they're probably looking to add, you know, somebody along the lines of, you know, Jose Quintana, Jack Flaherty, guy like Michael Lorenzen. So, you know, teams are looking to, you know, add to that playoff push, wild card teams. And that's where I tell you, that's where I say that more teams are buyers at trade deadline because there's more spots to get into the playoffs. I have 5 sellers. The Kansas City Royals, they're definitely sellers. Looking to trade away Barlow, looking to trade away who's the other reliever? Carlos Hernandez. And they're looking to get back a top 100 prospect for Scott Barlow. So definitely Kansas City Royals are definitely sellers right now. Chicago White Sox. They just traded Joe Kelly and Lance Lynn. I do believe that, you know, one of their top guys are gone, you know, like a Moncada, Luis Robert, Tim Anderson. Look for one of those guys to be gone. Maybe a Michael Kopech. You know, they're definitely sellers. They're the Chicago White Sox are 16.5 games back of the wild card. They're 12 games behind Minnesota. They have no life in them. The Chicago White Sox are definitely going to be sellers, and they acquired Eloy Jimenez might be on the way. You know, everybody except Dylan Cease should be traded from the Chicago White Sox. That's legit. Everybody except Dylan Cease should be traded from the Chicago White Sox. Everybody could go. Even Luis Robert, because you can get something back for Luis Robert, right? You can get prospects back. You can get some talent back for Luis Robert right now while his value's high. You're not going anywhere. I've always said this about the Chicago White Sox. As long as Jerry Reinsdorf is the owner, they won 1, and that was a magical season with Ozzie Guillen. But Jerry just continues to put out mediocrity on the field and on the basketball court. No, that's another story to say. In the Chicago Cubs, I think the Chicago Cubs are sellers too. I think Cody Bellinger is definitely gone. I think the Dodgers have been linked to him. Marcus Stroman's gone. I think those are the only 2 guys that I'll look up and say the Chicago Cubs dealt this trade deadline, but those are 2 big pieces. That's why I put them as a seller, because I think they're looking to get, I think they have enough pieces right now that they see on the day-to-day basis that they're like, okay, if we make the playoffs, if we make a wild card push, which right now they're right there in the hunt for the wild card. You know, they're only 3.5 games back from a wild card slot. So, and they're only 6 games back out of first place. So the Chicago Cubs, no, 4.5 games out of first place, and they would just won 7 straight. So the Chicago Cubs are playing great baseball right now, but they can, do it without those two guys, I believe, continue to play great baseball, and they can add to their farm system, or they can, they can add prospects, or they can add some utility guys that are going to help them in other areas, like, infield, like, the infield, the rotation, the bullpen. I do believe Chicago Cubs. So, yeah. San Diego Padres. Yeah, they're total sellers. Juan Soto, Josh Hader, those guys. The San Diego Padres are, Blake Snell. All those guys, I think, are all gone from the San Diego Padres. I think at least 2 out of the 3. I think at least Josh Hader and Blake Snell are probably gone from the San Diego Padres. If they do keep Juan Soto, they'll get a tremendous package back for Juan Soto. So the San Diego Padres are definitely sellers. The St. Louis Cardinals, they're, looking to probably get rid of Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado, as their season winds down. I mean, they're pretty much out of the playoff hunt, 11.5 games back. They got a young team. I think they want to get some of their young guys out there. I think you trade Nolan Arenado, Paulie Goldschmidt to a contender, get some prospects back, continue to get younger. I do think that the St. Louis Cardinals are on their way. I think they're where the Cubs were 2 years ago. I think with the veteran guys, they thought that they can infuse some of that talent, but it just didn't. They came out so poorly. They played such bad baseball from the beginning to now, pretty much. And they had their spurts, but they're just not where the front office wants them to be. They're definitely sellers at the moment. And then big names on the move, ladies and gentlemen. I already talked about this guy, Juan Soto, from the San Diego Padres. I think and these are just my predictions, ladies and gentlemen. Juan Soto, I definitely think he's on the move. Nolan Arenado from the St. Louis Cardinals, third baseman, I definitely think he's on the move. Josh Hader, relief pitcher, setup man for the closer for the San Diego Padres. I think he's on the move. You can also add Blake Snell in there, Marcus Stroman, Cody Bellinger, Marcus Stroman, starting pitcher of the Cubs, Cody Bellinger, outfielder for the Cubs, Tim Anderson, Luis Robert, Yohan Moncada, all 3 for the White Sox. I also named Eloy Jimenez as well as a guy. I got 2 other teammates to add too as well, Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer. I do think that the Mets are possibly looking to ship one of the 2. I don't know if they're looking to ship 2 of them. The Mets are definitely out of the playoff hunt. 17 games back out of first place. They are 6.5 games back out of the wild card, but I do think that they are looking to trade either one of those 2 or both of them. If I look up and I see Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander gone from the New York Mets, I wouldn't be surprised, just because of the fact that they're pretty much, they can make a playoff push, and I think they can, but I just don't know if they're looking to add young pieces, like in terms of their farm system, or add guys that are going to be able to contribute now, that are going to make. I just don't see it with Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander, especially up in age, what kind of package they're going to get for those guys. But I do think if I had to lean on the side as if they're staying or if both are going, I will lean on one of the 2 do get traded one of the 2 gets traded to a contender. But would I be surprised if neither were shipped and they stayed a New York Met, and the New York Mets were like, okay, we're going to make a play. We're 6.5 games out of the wild card. Let's not even worry about let's not even worry about our division, because we're out of the division. The Braves wrap that up. Let's see if we can make a run towards the second half of the season to maybe get into the playoffs and make some magic happen. I can see that happen, them keeping both of them. I don't see both of them going, which has been somewhat of a rumor floating out there that both of them are probably going to be shipped. But I do think one of the two will be shipped. So those are two names to watch out for as the MLB trade deadline happens here next Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, ladies and gentlemen. So watch out and look out for Twitter and all those tickers and trackers here as you keep up to date. And you can follow Prime Sports World as as the trade deadline approaches. I will drop some heat down there on our Prime Sports World page. So go ahead, like our Prime Sports World Facebook page here, ladies and gentlemen. And please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast here at Prime Sports World, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, going live 24/7. Bring in the heat, ladies and gentlemen. And in case you missed this live feed, please catch us on all streaming platforms where podcasts can be heard. That's Apple Music, Samsung Music, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and Spotify, ladies and gentlemen. I got to get that updated because we're about 30, 40 episodes behind. I'm on the backlog here. So I'll try and get that updated as soon as possible by Monday for you, ladies and gentlemen. But anyways, here, it's been a pleasure here. Look out for your up-to-date content here at Prime Sports World. I will be coming live later for the big fight, ladies and gentlemen. So please don't miss that content as Bud Crawford and Earl Spence fight in the mega fight for welterweight supremacy at 147 here in the boxing world. So you don't want to miss that content. You don't want to miss that fight. So y'all better go ahead and go place your sports bets or whatever you have to do. Go get dressed, any fight parties, but please drink responsibly, ladies and gentlemen. And let me not go past this. This is a hell of a UFC card going on in Salt Lake City today as well. Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier Part 2, Alex Pereira versus Jan Blachowicz. It's just a hell of a card here in the UFC tonight as well. So you guys don't want to miss that content. I'll come with some of those winners as well for fight night as well. But Bud Crawford and Earl Spence lead the way. They lead the show for fight night tonight. As you don't want to miss that content, ladies and gentlemen, at Prime Sports World. And that's for my boxing fans and my UFC fans, because I will tie fight night into both of those events here tonight at Prime Sports World. So you don't want to miss that content. But please stay up to date with me. Y'all have a great rest of your Saturday. Go by the pool. Enjoy your hot July day, ladies and gentlemen. And in case I miss you, you know how I always end the show. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night, ladies and gentlemen. Sayonara, suckers. See you later. Peace out.